But this predator, the quote we heard, this is a predator who was fed a steady diet of interns. The first time it should have happened, he should have been fired, and he should have probably been referred to the authorities for criminal prosecution. It happened 10 times, and you never did that. You still haven't done that in this person.
I am aware that 11 years ago there was an issue raised, and it was handled appropriately, as my
Appropriately, he got a promotion. He continued to work there.
He was carefully watched the very minute
Watched?
we had any
Who's watching him?
indication-
Who's
the very
watching
minute
him?
we had any indication of impropriety, which was the recent issue, we took prompt action, and in less
You
than 2
moved his
months,
cubicle
that man left
four.
federal
You
service.
moved his cubicle four spaces away. You think that's appropriate? What do you say to the mother and father who sent their 24-year-old to the EPA? She's starting her career, and she's harassed. Look at her statement. And you did the appropriate thing by moving her 4 cubicles
Sir, we are
away?
doing everything we can to reinforce the policy and the law. We are developing procedures so there's never a question about this, and we are doing everything
That
we
isn't
can
good
to
enough.
protect
When
every
somebody is
employee in the
sexually
agency.
harassed, you send them to the authorities. You fire them.
I did send them the correct authorities.
You sent them
sir.
to Human Resources, who wanted to reprimand them. You never did send them to the criminal
Human
referral.
Resources recommended the same thing as every manager, which was to actually proceed to removal. The man is no longer in federal.
That's not what initially happened. He was in his record that they had had 10 complaints, 10 sexual harassment complaints against this gentleman, and he was allowed to continue to be there. And as we heard testimony, a predator who's fed a steady diet of interns.
I am aware of one complaint 11 years ago, and the complaint that was just processed under my watch, which resulted in his removal from public service within 5 or 6
Did you
weeks.
fire him, or was he allowed to retire?
He was allowed to retire because that is his right.
Yeah.
Even if he were fired, he would be allowed to retire.
Do you believe that this intern who said that there was sexual harassment, do you believe that her statement is true?
Oh, I absolutely do, and that
Then
was
why didn't you
actually
refer
the
it for a
joint
criminal
agreement that
referral?
everybody came to.
Why didn't you give it as a criminal referral? If you believe that her statement is true, and it was sexual harassment, and that is a violation of the law, why, and you allowed him to just retire, why didn't you send that to the proper authorities?
We took the appropriate action.
Do you think it's appropriate? Do you think it's against the law to sexually harass somebody at work?
I think it's not only against the law, but it's also against our policies, and we acted under the policies and the law when it led to the removal of him from public.
Did you let any of the law enforcement officers know?
Mr. Chaffetz, I have 2 young daughters just about this woman.
I got 2 young daughters too, and I would never send them to the EPA. It's the most toxic place to work I've ever heard of. This person, this 24-year-old girl, she's starting her career. She's harassed over a 3-year period. And you admit that that is a violation of the law. Why didn't you do the criminal referral?